All right, wonderful. Welcome, everybody. My name is Barb Cardell. I'm the Training and Technical Assistance Director for the Positive Women's Network, and we welcome you to one of our ongoing organizing and curriculum training opportunities. Today, we're going to be talking about leadership style. What is my leadership style? Many of us have been told that we have a particular style or have been encouraged to develop a different style in different circumstances that we're in. Today, we really are hoping to have a little bit of a fun time thinking about what our styles are and how they interleave into the work that we do in both our communities and in our lives. So we are really glad that you're here with us today. So just a couple of our logistics. We are in meeting, the meeting is being recorded. We are in meeting mode, which means that everyone's video can be seen. You can mute and unmute yourself, either using the mute button or *6 if you're on your phone. We're trying to use this so that it is more interactive and so that we don't have to do a lot with the hand raising and that kind of stuff. So please, if you're not sharing a thought, keep yourself on mute so that we can go ahead and have as clear a recording as possible for now, but we'll be participating later on. Feel free to ask questions as we go along in the chat box. We have a bunch of folks who are keeping an eye on it who will help us make sure that if we need to answer that question right in the moment, that we can stop, or we can go ahead and answer it when we kind of get to a natural break in our presentation. And finally, if people will go ahead and introduce themselves in the chat box, that would be great. You can do name, pronouns, if you're comfortable with that, and the location. Today we have a number of presenters. As I mentioned, my name is Barb Cardell, and I am the Training and Technical Assistance Director. I use they, them pronouns. We are joined by Crystal Townsend, who is our organizing manager at PWN. Crystal uses she and her pronouns. And then this is our inaugural launch with Ieshia Scott, who is the Training and Communications Program Assistant. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we are really excited. It's going to be a great training opportunity. Before we get started, we did just want to have a couple of group agreements. When we talk about leadership style, we're talking about oftentimes people's personalities, ways that they show up. It can be something that is deeply personally felt, and we want to make sure that we are talking about people respectfully and that people feel comfortable sharing or not sharing. So these group agreements are speak from your personal experience and allow others to speak from theirs. So we really don't want to have people saying, well, this happened and that person did this, because it isn't really about how we label other people. It is about how we develop ourselves as leaders. We want to make sure that we're listening deeply. Sometimes when we're talking about leadership, and especially when we have a group full of leaderful folks, it is easy for us to talk over each other. We want to make sure we give everybody a chance. That comes to our next agreement, which is take space, make space. If you are sharing a lot, please take a moment, step back, see if someone else would like to share first. If you're being quiet, think about why you're being quiet. Is it because you are feeling challenged, or is it because you are maybe not as much of an extrovert as some of the other folks are? So if you're being quiet, please, we encourage you to step up. Feel free and comfortable to share what you're thinking. Have fun, but don't make fun. I was recently invited to present at a kindergarten, and this is one of their group agreements that I actually really loved, which is that as we're talking about our leadership styles, we are taking surveys. It sometimes feels a little bit like the back of Cosmo magazine, if people remember that, and dating myself by talking about that. But we want to have fun with this. This is about developing our styles and talking about it, but we don't ever want to make anybody else feel uncomfortable like we're making fun of it. So that's one of our agreements. Honor your needs and boundaries, along with those of our group. We want to make sure that people are comfortable. If you need to get up and walk around, have a glass of water, do that. But we're really hoping that people can be focused and join us today. Finally, confidentiality. What was said here, we're hoping that people will take the stories, take the lessons, but leave the stories with the names here. And is there anything else that we might be missing that people would like to add at this time? All right, if you think of anything, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll go ahead and add it. We have a couple of times where we'll stop and refresh our slides because we're going to be adding in real time what we're going to be talking about. So then we have our question that kicks us off, that starts us off today. The question is not, am I a leader? The question is, what kind of a leader am I? And hopefully by today, we will learn not just what our strong leadership style is, but also other ways that we are leaders that we can develop in certain circumstances. Because being a leader, being one particular kind of leader, is not as generous. We want to be able to use all of our styles that we have in our toolkit, depending on the circumstance. So our goals and our outcomes are pretty simple. By the end of the training, we'll be able to identify your personal leadership style, your strengths and challenges of your leadership style, because there are benefits and cautions around each one. Think about how meaningful involvement in developing leaders can be supported or challenged by different leadership styles. And finally, think about how you can tweak your leadership style and identify where it can help move your group forward. If we have a whole bunch of strong-minded people and we really are trying to develop a consensus model, then perhaps we want to think about other parts of our leadership style that we can develop. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Ieshia.
Hey everyone. So right now, as you can see on your screen, the question states, how do you describe your leadership style? So I want everyone to take a few moments and go into the chat and type up a few words to describe yourself as a leader or your personal leadership style. So we have some of the words here: visionary, leadership, confidence, communication, creativity, positive attitude. So there's some good choices there, but also, you know, use some of your own. In the comments so far, I'm seeing encouraging, listener, by example, collaborative, communication, confidential. I see servitude in there, positive attitude, communication. And I definitely want to thank everybody for dropping these responses for us. I see a lot are coming in. Delegating, that's actually one we're going to go over today. Yes, we're here for each other. So thank you, God. Thank you all for putting some comments there and just taking the time to describe yourselves as leaders. We're going to go ahead and go to the next slide. So there are many different leadership styles. Right now, if you go on Google and you type in, what is a leadership style? What is my leadership style? Any question like that, you're going to see tons of different leadership styles. You may see coaching style, visionary style, servant style, democratic style. You're going to see tons of different leadership styles. And there's going to be different ways that different quizzes and evaluations will assess personality types and leadership styles. Here on your screen, you're going to see different little images, and these images are some different leadership styles, like quizzes or evaluations, like the Myers-Briggs. We also have places where you can take some evaluations for your personality and leadership style. And those are 16 personalities, E-colors, and also a D&D character alignment. I can actually drop those in the comments for you all if you would like to review those later. So just to let you guys know, you all know we are going to cover 3 different leadership styles here today. So just keep it in mind that there's many different leadership styles, and these 3 will not encompass all of them. And you may even find that different styles that we don't even cover today suit you much better. So take time on your own time to explore the different leadership styles that are out there, to add these skills to your armor, okay? Because these things help us to do the work that we're doing, especially for those of you who are working directly with the community and members in your PWN chapters. And I'm going to go ahead and put those in the chat right now. And we can go over to the next slide. So some important points to remember. No one style is always best. It is very useful to learn about the different leadership styles and use what fits best for yourself, and not even just for yourself, but the people that you're going to be working with. Every leadership style will not be the right choice for every member, every person that you're connecting with. Some people may not connect well or respond well to your specific leadership style. So as a leader, it's very important to try to be as flexible as you can in your leadership style. So that brings us to point 2. You want to be flexible. And also knowing that you can choose to use different leadership styles. You don't have to choose one that we go over today. For instance, if we were to go over delegating, you don't have to choose delegating and say, that's the style I'm going to be. You can choose different parts from different styles and be your own leader. Choose the type of leader that you want to be, the type of leader that you want to see as well. And then also just making sure we're having meaningful involvement of people living with HIV, especially when you're thinking about how you're doing your work in HIV, specifically in the PWN chapters, how you meaningfully involve each member. You can be mentoring and bringing up a new leader. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Barb so we can get you all started with the quiz.
Great, thank you, Ieshia, for that overview of different leadership styles, and also a reminder that this is a process. So we're going to try something here, which is that we would like folks to go ahead and click on the link that's in the chat box and take this 12-point leadership assessment. So you'll go ahead and you'll fill out yes or no, or actually it's A, B, and C on this leadership evaluation. And if you are not able to click on this link, or if you are not able to, oh, sorry, did I send it? Yeah, okay. So if you're not able to click on the link, or if you're on your phone and not able to follow on the webinar, we will go ahead and put you in a breakout room with one of the PWN staff that are on the phone so that they can go ahead and fill it out for you. So if everyone can go ahead and click on this link, we did have a bit.ly, but it is not working. So just go ahead and click on this link. It is in the chat box. We will go ahead and have you take the evaluation. We did send it out ahead of time. And so some people have already taken it. So if you need any assistance, if you can go ahead and let us know, either come off of mute and say that you need to go in a breakout room so somebody can help you take the evaluation, or raise your hand, or put it in the chat box. Just let us know somehow or another that you need some help with it, and we will go ahead and partner you up with somebody. Yep, and here's the links again. So does that make sense? What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the leadership evaluation quiz. We didn't want to give people homework to come on. Sounds good. Okay, so we've got Tana and Wanda who would like a little bit of help. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now.
Barb,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take mine on my, I think this is it, on my tablet. Is that fine if I do it on there and just stay on here?
It is. It absolutely is.
Thank you.
And then we're going to do. Okay, so I see that Tana and Wanda needed some help, and it looks like Ieshia would like a little bit of help. Okay. And this is a real live learning opportunity as we are going. All right. So as we assigned people to breakout rooms, you would go ahead and see an invitation to join the breakout rooms. So Crystal and Wanda, you are in room 1, so you should have an invitation to go to that room. And Ieshia and Tana are in room 2. And Ieshia, you just need to go ahead and select, and there you go. Is there anyone else who would like to be put into a breakout room for help with the quiz? You can either raise your hand.
Yeah, Deidre watching.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So I went ahead and assigned you to a breakout room there. And so you just need to click on the button to join. And Ebony, I have put you in that room as well. So. All right. So. What's that?
I can't see where it doing it.
Okay, she's in there now, so you should be able to join. And I am, let's see.
See it. Wow, I can't get in there.
All right. Deirdre, looks like.
I can't get in the room.
Yeah, do you see what, there should be a little bit of a button where you, the little blue button that says that you would go ahead and join the room?
I just came back to say, Deidre, you got to join the room.
Yeah, thanks, Ebony.
All right.
And looks like
Barb, I need you to send me back in there if you can.
Sure. I'm going to send you both to, yeah, there you go. And so it looks like everyone else is doing okay with the survey.
Barb, it's B. Am I supposed to do something else or just get my score?
Just get your score
Okay.
and
Great.
don't tell us what it is just yet.
Okay, I'm gonna screenshot it then.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah. So for those who are taking the survey, we're going to go ahead and give you just another, well, yeah, we give people another 5 minutes to and it looks like Deirdre. Yeah.
It gave me a score, but it's asking me to log in through social media.
All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Sure can. Hi.
No, it gave me a score, but it's asking me to log in through social media.
Yeah, you can just go ahead and say no thank you on the logging in part. And just remember your score. And you can just jot it down and you can just close that tab out.
A, B, X. I chose my team member.
Yeah.
Idra, are you on your phone on the Zoom? Because I just called you. It went straight to voicemail. This is Ebony. If you want to call me so I can help you, call me.
Miss Ebony, I got it on my phone. I'm checking it on my phone.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Okay.
Great. Woohoo! All right, we've got 2 more minutes to be taking the quiz and then we'll go ahead and come on back. All right, everyone, welcome back. How was that?
Very interesting and different, I will say. I have
All
never
right.
taken a quiz on leadership style.
All right. Well, thank you, Bee. Appreciate that. So here are what the scores are. And again, as we sort of have talked about the fact that leadership styles and scores are really just a suggestion. They are not hard and fast. They certainly are able to be shifted and changed as we go along. So based on the leadership styles and your scores, if you scored 12 to 20, then you most commonly adopt an authoritative style, a leadership style. And this can mean that you rarely consult with team members and tend to tell them what you want, when you want it, and how you want it done. It can be very quick when you're making decisions, but it also can be fairly challenging and stifle creativity. You can lean towards a participative style of leadership if you scored 21 to 27. And those are people who set the parameters and have the final say, but really actively involve team members. And again, no one style is correct. We need all of us. It's sort of like making a lovely, lovely cake. We need all of the parts to make a wonderful cake. So then you can go ahead and say that, you know, indeed, if you're participative, it's engaging, but it also can slow you down. And then if you scored 28 to 36, you probably are a delegative type of style. And so you give your members free rein on how they work towards their goals. But it can be great if you have more skills. It also can be a little hard if you have somebody new who's coming on. So now what we wanted to do based on your style, everybody jot down which style you are based on your score. And we'll go ahead and we'll go back into some breakout rooms. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have each of us kind of work on, so you can see that we're trying to, in our leadership styles, have lots of breakouts and lots of opportunity for conversation. So what we're gonna do is based on what your score was, we're gonna assign you to one of the rooms, 1, 2, or 3, based on if you are a delegating leadership style, an authoritative style, or a participative style. Do we need to go back to those scores, or does everybody know which one they are? In the nodding heads, it looks like everybody is pretty much in alignment with what they have. So we're going to go ahead and have delegating is 1, participating is 3, and then the authoritative, we're going to stay in the main group. So that way, if people aren't able to go into a breakout room, they can stay here in this main section with me. Okay, so we have a request to go back for the scores. So there are the scores that people have. 12 to 20 is authoritative, 21 to 27 is participative, and 28 to 36 is delegating. All right. So if I can, I'm going to go ahead and get my screen up here. And if I can go ahead and have everyone who is delegative raise their hand or say me in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and put you all in room 1. right.
Go to room 3.
Okay, okay. So hang on a second here. La, la, la. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to allow everyone to choose their room then, okay? So we'll go here. And if you are not able to choose a room, then you will go ahead and we can go ahead and help you. So it looks like we've got a whole bunch of people that are in room 3. So if you can choose room 3, that's great. And
Where do I choose the room?
Melanie, I can go ahead and I can put you in a room. Which one are you going to?
Room 3. Room 3.
Okay.
I don't see where we choose the room either.
Hey, hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah, hi.
This Deidre Watson. I got my score was like 28. So
Okay.
what room I go in?
So Deirdre, you go to room 1. So we'll go ahead and put you there. Brenda, which room would you like to go to?
I go to one.
All right, looks like Lizzie is going to 3.
And
Brenda,
I
you're in 3. Okay, gotcha. Looks like we got a lot of 3s. Maria is in 2.
Barb 3.
Okay. And Wanda is in 3 as well. Yeah, sorry, I thought that the assignments were going to be easier, but they got confusing there. All right, Norman, you're in 3. Excellent. 1, 2, 3.
okay, I don't see a change.
That's all right. So you should have a button down at the bottom where you accept which room you're in. If you don't, then you can just sort of stay here with me in room 3. All right, and we have Charmaine is in 2. And
Barb, you want me to stay here, right? Because I
yes,
have a
please, Ebony.
invitation. Okay.
Yes, please. And I'm going to go ahead and Ebony, you should be able to, you're a co-host. Can you get Helen, Joanne, and Deirdre into the rooms they need to go into?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So Helen, Joanne, and Deirdre, if you can hear me and you want to, and you know what room you know what your number is, let me know and we'll put you in a room.
Mine shows that I should be in 3.
Okay.
This Helen.
Oh, I know your voice, Miss Helen. Hold on, let's take you to 3. All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Miss Deirdre.
Okay. So, hey, Ebony,
Hey,
I'm trying to find Barb.
Barb just went, I don't know, she went to room 1.
She went
You want me to, oh, you can send yourself there. Yeah,
I don't even think I can though. It was there before, but now it's gone.
I can send you you want me to send you to room 1?
Yes, please.
All right. Uh-oh. Barb, Ieshia looking for you. I just sent her to room 1 to find you and you came back here.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I'm going to go to room 2.
She in room 1. She looking for you. Deirdre? Okay. Deidre, you back? I can't hear you if you are. Hey, Roxy,
Hey,
did
sorry
you
I'm
just
late.
join?
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
No worries. Everybody's in a breakout room. Do you know, did you take the quiz before you joined?
No.
All right, so there's a, let me see if I can find the, see if I can find the quiz. I think. You take that, and then if they still in the breakout room, I'll send you there, but if not, you could just join the conversation when everybody come back.
Okay.
Just let me know your number when you finish. Deirdre, if you're here, I still can't hear you, or I don't know, just let me know what you need. You good, Barb?
I'm good. I'm good. Aisha's in room 1. We've got, hey, Ev, can you join room 2? It's participatory. And they are struggling, and I'll join room 3 with authoritarian.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I can send myself though.
Oh, here I can.
And then who's gonna be out here?
Are we? I don't even know. This is so confusing. I'm practiced this so much and it's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Who?
Okay.
Where's
Here,
Chris?
you stay here, Ebony. You stay here, okay?
Okay.
And I'm gonna go check on. Yeah.
Wait. Aisha back too.
No, she's gone.
Are you chasing Barb?
This is hilarious. Barb keeps jumping out. Sorry, Barb keeps jumping out of the room. The moment I jump in, it's like we are missing each other.
All right. So I'm gonna try to send you to where she is. Hold on.
Okay.
Looks like, it looks like they are in room 3.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't leave.
Thank you. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm going.
Wanda's phone. Where's Wanda's phone on here? Barb, if you don't stop running away from Ieshia, don't run away from Ieshia no more. I swear I keep sending Ieshia to the room with you.
Yeah. So Ebony,
Yes.
Ebony, you keep Aisha here. I want to make sure that the rooms are having discussions regardless of which one they're in. So
Okay.
tell her, yes. Tell her that the room assignments are wackadoo and have her just stay here, okay?
Oh, to have her stay in the main room?
Have her stay in the main room.
Okay.
I'm gonna go bounce between room 1 and 2. Room 3 is having a great discussion. And
Okay.
room 1 and 2 is, I'm gonna make sure that they're talking, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So should I, wait a minute, who is that?
Oh no, everybody just got pulled out of their rooms.
Yes.
No.
All right, so, hi, everybody. Sorry
Hello.
about that. It turns out rooms were a great idea and a little problematic. So poor Aisha ended up chasing me through a number of breakout rooms as I was trying to make sure that everyone was having good conversations. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually just be our best PWN selves. And we're going to have this be a broader conversation here. So what we were trying to do is to have each of the styles be able to talk to each other. And just want to see if anybody who is in the authoritative leadership style group wants to share some of the things that you were learning. We'll go ahead and we've got a slide that breaks down the styles in a minute, but we're just all going to kind of come back and see, like, what did you think? Are you surprised? How are we doing?
So here's the thing. Our room, although it was authoritative, the people that were in our room were all participative leadership style.
Yeah. So did they have a conversation amongst the participative sort of group?
So they were having some conversation. I wasn't really in there for all of it, but I know there were some examples being given. Did anybody from the room want to share what was discussed?
We actually didn't talk about much. We introduced ourselves, and then Jesse was just giving some examples of that leadership style and things that has happened within her agency.
And it looks like we have a comment in the comment section about setting reasonable goals. Absolutely. Was that as a collaborative goal setting, or was that one person was helping to set the reasonable goals? Maria, I'm seeing your comment here. And if you're on mute or if you're talking, we can't hear you. So you can either unmute yourself or just type it in the chat box.
Yes, hey, you can hear me?
Sure can.
Now we in the months. I had to go switch over to my phone so I can actually conversate.
Ah, great. Okay, so Ieshia, do you mind if I turn it over to you to talk about each of the styles and the pros and the cons?
Not a problem. Let's do it. Okay, so the first leadership style I'm going to go over is participatory. A participatory leadership style promotes inclusiveness and supports the idea that each person's opinions and thoughts are important. It promotes a healthy, inclusive environment, which increases self-esteem and cooperation among members by allowing each member to participate in decision-making. It also increases quality as there's more people participating in decision making. So I have here some strengths that are listed there, also some challenges. And I'm going to start off with the strengths. It increases and supports unity, cohesiveness, high self-esteem, and cooperation is also increased. And it also promotes higher quality and collaborative decisions, as you're including everyone. And then the challenges are that larger groups means more voices. You have to adapt for that. So even just thinking about using this leadership style or how you would, use this leadership style, putting that into perspective, if you had a group of 50 people and you needed to make a decision, just imagine, using your participatory leadership style in that scenario, how that would work out, taking 50 people's responses for a simple, should we put up a bathroom sign? So things like that. And it also has other challenges like social pressures, time used for decision-making is lower, and it's also harder to implement. Harder to implement again, because there's a lot of people, there's more things to consider when you're using this leadership style. So just also remembering with every leadership style, there's going to be some strengths. There's also going to be some challenges. So learning when and how to use those leadership styles is what will set the tone for you as a leader, and what will also make it easier for you to lead. We're going to move on to the next slide.
Before Ieshia starts with the next slide, if you are not on mute, can you go on mute, please?
And I do see some things coming in through the chat. Participatory affirmations are motivators and facing challenges. I definitely agree with that. And then on to the next style, delegating leadership styles. And if you guys want to, I like what you guys are doing, continuing to put in some strengths or challenges of the styles. And also, I just want to ask, if you got delegating leadership style, and I should have actually did this for participatory style, but if you got delegating, can you raise a hand or maybe chat me?
Ieshia, I know Deidre Watkins.
Deidre Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we only have one delegating leadership style? Okay. So as you guys can see, there are strengths and challenges as well. But for the delegating, it increases efficiency and allows you to transfer responsibilities for projects to those whose skills may fit better. This can play a major role in the development of skills with those you work with. It is a major role in coaching and teaching others, which builds new skills. Be sure that you are delegating tasks correctly and ensure objectives are clear. The person you are delegating to has the needed tools as well. You want to make sure they have everything they need to be able to do the job. So those tools and skill sets and talents, it's not, just about delegating a task and just saying, here, this is for you. It's more about making sure it fits the person that you're giving this task to. You want to make sure this person is equipped. You don't want this person to fall, flat on their face. At the end of the day, you're still the leader. You still have some accountability to every task, not even some, oftentimes still full accountability in most instances. So being sure that when you're delegating tasks, you're also asking, do you have any concerns? Asking them to provide you with suggestions or feedbacks and even their ideas, just so it can help. And, you can work better when you're delegating these tasks. And the strengths of being a delegating leader is it gives you the time and ability to focus on higher level tasks. It gives others the ability to learn and develop new skills. It also develops trust between workers and improves communication. It improves efficiency, productivity, and time management. Now, challenges, it does not eliminate accountability to the leader. And then fears, there may be, can't always say there's gonna be, but there may be fears about delegating. So there may be difficulty with delegating tasks to others. You may not know who to delegate to. You may not know their skill set. Or there may be those instances where delegating, you feel that you're losing recognition, you're losing control. So those things are also challenges of the delegating leadership style. And then we're gonna move on to the next slide, which houses our final leadership style that we'll be covering today, and that's authoritative. So these leaders, well, before I start there, do we have any authoritative leaders? Did anybody pick that leadership style? I don't believe that I saw anybody that put a 20 or under in the chat box earlier. So maybe safe to say that we don't. But these leaders follow a commanding and hands-on style of leadership. Authoritative leaders are known to keep their teams on their toes while constantly providing direction and instructions. And there's a little line I have here, I direct, you follow. So with this specific leadership style, it is a specific style and model of leadership characterized primarily by a leader who takes personal and full control over all decisions and courses of actions. So strengths of this particular leadership style is that it may be useful in crisis situations. Pressure is on the leader, so it reduces stress for the members. It may be suitable for groups or members that lack experience. And it also simplifies communication as it's coming from one direct source. Now, there are challenges with this leadership style, and they are that it may appear overbearing. It can also stifle creativity. It might cause fear in others instead of invoking true respect. It can cause conflict, and it is not suitable for situations that require collaboration or input from others. Now, we just went over those three styles: participatory, delegating, authoritative. If you guys want to take some time to put some things in the chat, if you maybe after seeing these strengths or challenges from your own leadership style that you chose from the quiz, or were rather given after taking the quiz and getting that score, you know, just telling or in the chat, putting something about whether or not those strengths seem like they may apply to the type of leader you are, or if how you may be able to overcome any challenge that you may have seen here today. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Crystal.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can,
I
Crystal.
think so. I hope so. Okay, great. Barb, can you help me get to the next slide? Thank you. So Ieshia and Barb, thank y'all so much for really guiding us through training on leadership styles. Ieshia mentioned in the beginning that we've been doing a training series for our members and our folks within chapters so that you can take some of these skills and bring them back to your communities, whether it's your communities or your chapters. And so your leadership style can change, it can adapt for different situations. And finally, I just want to remind you that there is no right way or wrong way to do this. And we understand that thinking that one way is right or one way is wrong is also like a characteristic of how white supremacy thinking and like reinforcing white supremacy shows up. So we want to affirm you that wherever you are in your journey right now, it's okay. And it's also okay to, like Barb and Ieshia mentioned, to remain flexible and to adapt and to try new things. There's no one way to do this thing. Next slide.
So getting real, some examples. So I'm going to go ahead and base these examples off of some of the work that you guys are doing within your PWN chapters, just to kind of connect it back to what we're doing here as leaders. And starting off, we have authoritative. So with this leadership style, one way that this could be effective is, for instance, with those of you who may be organizing and you have your small groups and you're going out door knocking, authoritative may be a really good tool for a leader who is working with those small groups and giving out specific tasks. It's a smaller group, easier to manage. It's clear when that information is coming from one source, and with this, everybody pretty much already knows their skill set. And with door knocking, it's a really simple task. You just have to be, friendly, bubbly. So authoritative may be a good leadership style or skill to pull out at that time. So again, if you are organizing, if you are even working on small committees, you may be planning something, it may be good to use authoritative. So just giving out small tasks, small instructions, that would be a really good one to use. For participatory, this would be a really good style to use when you are needing feedback from other members to maybe decide on some things that you want to see happening within the PWN chapter. It gives an opportunity for fresh ideas, things that you may not often think about yourself. You have different minds going, different levels of creativity. So anytime you're in a planning stage, you may find it much more useful to use a more participatory leadership style. It'll really allow everybody to feel that they have input, and it also gives people, that feeling as if they're a part of something, which also makes them more prone to go out and do that work, as opposed to, you planning all by yourself and now coming to everyone and necessarily giving out a ton of different events and nobody actually had any input. They may not actually like the idea of the event. Maybe somebody knows that event may not be the best fit for your chapter or what your chapter is doing. So when you're in your planning stages, or when you're in the moment where you know that something needs to come from your chapter, or you want something to come from your chapter, it'll probably be a really great idea for you to use the participatory leadership style. So with delegating, the delegating leadership style, it would probably be best to use this style when you know your team, when you know members. You don't want to just go out delegating to just, say for instance, you start a chapter, you get some people got together, you just started the chapter, it's probably a weekend, you're just talking about some things. It may not be best to just start delegating tasks. It may be, before delegating, you want to make sure you know each person, their skill set, what they're best at. Some people may be best at speaking, and you may want to delegate them when somebody wants a statement for the press. Somebody else may be better at training and creating content, so you may want to delegate to that person. So you want to use delegating when you have tasks that require or have or a need for a specific skill set, and you may not be the best fit for the job. And keep it in mind, when you're using the leadership styles, especially one like delegating, you want to make sure, again, that it's beneficial, that you're not just delegating to anyone. You want to make sure that you know everyone's skill set. That way you can champion behind what they're doing, and you don't have to have that fear that we discussed in the challenges, or that I shared in the challenges rather. You can eliminate having to fear whether the job will get done, or if it will be of poor or great quality, because you know that person's skill sets. And that's why it's also great, and just putting aside leadership styles right now, that's why it's really great to get to know one another, having the opportunity and the space to where you can share, technical skills, those type of things, and really get to know what's best for each member, each person that you're working with. You don't want to just have somebody in your group and you really don't know what purpose they serve, especially something like our PWN chapters, where you all are doing real work on the ground. You want to know where each member fits in. You want to know each member's strengths, and you don't want anybody to feel left out, or like they don't have an important part in the chapter. Every part works to make everything you do move. So that is pretty much all I have as far as some of the examples. If you come up with your own or you have something you want to share in the chat, please go ahead and do so. And we're going to move on to our next slide, which is for Crystal.
Thank you, Ieshia. So I think that was a great way to get us to really start talking to one another about what it means to be a leader, and also thinking about the leader we today and the leader we want to be or grow into. Your leadership journey is going to always evolve, and just you're always going to be either looking at other people and how they lead and how they inspire you and how you want to take a little bit from them, and then include that into your own leadership style. So think about what you see in other leaders and what you can take from them to create your own leadership style. You are always growing and evolving into the leader that you want to be for other people. And in this next activity, Barb is going to lead to really talk about are some of the leaders or the styles that inspire you. And so I'll turn it over to Barb.
Thanks, Crystal. Yes, so we were originally going to have another breakout room here, but we're going to instead have this be a group discussion, because we were spending a lot of time getting into the groups and seeing if we were in the right place, and losing a little bit of time to actually be able to talk about who we are, how we are as leaders, how we're showing up. And again, remembering our guidelines, this is what we're comfortable sharing, what we want to bring to the table, and knowing that this is a place that we can have really good, meaningful conversations. And so what I would encourage people to do, if you feel comfortable, is to raise your hand or come off of mute. And we're going to go ahead and introduce yourself, talk about what style you were identified as. What does your style bring to the table? What are the benefits? And what do you need to pay careful attention to when you're working in groups? So what are some cautions? And we're going to develop this into a table and share it out with people after the webinar. And I'll go ahead and I will model. So I'm going to go back to our leadership table that we have here. Apologies for making everybody a little motion sick there. So I'll go ahead and model, and I'll go first. So hi, everybody. My name is Barb. My score was a 20, and I took it again, and my score was a 21. So I say that I am a participative leader with my authoritarian rising. So doing it sort of a little bit like a zodiac sign. And what I know is that I really want to be inclusive and have lots of people be able to engage. And so that I also, when a decision needs to be made, am comfortable helping to make that. The caution is, so that's the benefits that I bring, is that I can make quick decisions, and I also can be really inclusive. And the challenges, the cautions can be that I need to pay careful attention to, is that if I'm feeling anxious or if something needs to happen quickly, that I can then kind of, by being willing to make a decision, I can make a decision for the group before we've been collaborative. And so that can feel a little harsh for people or a little less inclusive. And so those are the cautions that I bring. So with that, do we have anybody else who would like to go ahead and share? It looks like we have Jessie Mona. Yes, Jessie Mona, would you go ahead and share what you have learned from your leadership style?
Yes, my name is Jessie Mona, and I'm a member of PWN, the Greater Houston area. And my leadership style was participatory. My number was 26 or 27. And so what my leadership style brings to the table is that I'm not an authority. I'm not dictating anything. I'm more like, I'm getting more with the help of my mentors to a place of being more laid back and practicing some open-mindedness to other suggestions and ideas. And here in the greater Houston area, it's kind of been drilled into us to, and so it's like second nature. We don't make decisions in a silo or by ourselves. We always bring whatever it is we want to do, we bring it back to the we. We meet once a month, or if we need to meet sooner, we do. But we're always inclusive of the group. And when we bring new members in, we make sure we make them feel welcome by including them in whatever it is that we want to do. And so that's a benefit. A benefit is in the participatory model is if I see a problem, it could be a pretty serious problem like we had earlier this month. It needs to be addressed immediately. Then we schedule a meeting and we show up for and with each other. Or we have been in a meeting and something went a little sideways and somebody might call one person and then they'll say, well, let's get the other person on the line. Because in this chapter, there are 3 founding members of this chapter. So the thing that I have to pay attention to is to not get outside of the inclusiveness of the group, to not start doing it like my way, the only way, or thinking that I have all the decisions to make, and then, I want it to go this way. That doesn't work, and that's not how we do it, and so that's not how I do it. But I like this. I like this workshop, Barb. Everything got erased when I got knocked off, but I do like everything you guys are doing. Ieshia, Crystal, and Barb. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jessie, Mona, and appreciate your, detailed breakdown of the benefits and also some of the cautions around the participatory style of leadership that you model. Is there anyone else who wants to come off of mute and talk about what their style is? It can be the same or it can be different.
Yes, my name is Norman Dixon. Can everybody hear me fine?
Sure can, Norman, welcome.
Yes, all right, thank you. And my score was 25. And so I'm at the same spot where she was at. Participative style, because I'm not that much of aggressive. I'm a person that's into the people, listening to what people guys down to it. I'm like a peacemaker out of the bunch, and then we can get things done. Because I don't know. Maybe it's because I wasn't brought up to be aggressive, and that kind of throws off of it. That I try to do that and pitch that into anybody that's like depressed or down, or I don't like to see people beat themselves up. I like to see them pick themselves up. Talk good about themselves. That's how that's a great leadership push to me. It's more or less like I say.
Norman, if I can just ask you then, so that sounds like you listed a lot of the benefits of being a participative style of leader. What are some of the cautions? What are the things that you need to pay attention to when you're working in groups from being that kind of style? Because as we've talked about, it is easy for us to think like one style is better than the other, easier to get along, but we kind of need everyone. We need all of these styles. And
the caution to me on my side is that sometimes I can be too aggressive when I'm coming off on a situation. Sometimes I can be a little emotional, Like if it comes down to it, if you got to sit there and listen in problems, like I be kind of more of a listener and thinker and just observing the personality before I'm going off on the action. That's how I would judge anybody. It's not by their action, it's by their personality. It's how they introduce themselves to me. It's how I see it.
That's great. That is great. Thank you so much. Is there someone else who wants to share their style? Either somebody who is an authoritative or a delegating leader. I know we had some of them because I was able to pop in and out of the rooms where people were at. So if you feel comfortable sharing, that's great. And if not, we can go ahead and just keep hearing from other folks.
This is Eileen from Shreveport. I came in a little later than everybody else because I was on another webinar also. But I think when I did the test, I was more like a 21, but I'm going more toward trying to be more participatory. The reason why, and I have to give a reason why, being in a lot of situations and dealing with a lot of different groups, most of the time, and my personality, a lot of times I get a feel for a person, but trusting that they will do the work the way it needs to be done. And I'm always from if you want something done, do it yourself. And in the negative about doing everything yourself, you get burnt out very quickly. But if it's something that needs to be done very quickly, I'm great about going ahead and getting it done. But that also causes burnout pretty quickly. So I'm learning to learn other people's way they do it and skills, and taking my hands off of it and letting them do what needs to be done. And instead of trying to do it my way or trying to have them do it my way, if it gets done in the correct way or how it needs to be done, not so much trying to let it be done in my way. And people being around me wouldn't think that way about me, but that is the way I am. I just take it up and do it myself, and that causes burnout. So I'm learning to learn people when I get into groups with people and delegate a lot more than just trying to do everything myself.
Thank you. That is, yeah, these leadership styles, and this is part of the reason why at the beginning we talked about there being bunches of different styles, and we will go ahead and share all the different ways that you can analyze yourself and analyze your leadership styles. This is just one that was simpler for us to really kind of go over in this session. And what we learned is that the more we know ourselves, whether we see what our strengths are and whether we see our weaknesses are, that this really comes into play. And Jessie Mona talked about this a lot when she talked about the chapter work, which is that, we want to make sure that if we have people who are different leadership styles, that we don't tell them they all have to be one particular way, but instead kind of nurture different strengths so that if a decision has to be made quickly, I have sat around, I'm going to tell you right now, I have sat around in a participative style of leadership group where we're all like, no, we're all communal and we're going to make decisions by consensus. And it's not even modified consensus. We're all going to agree. And we were trying to decide what to have for lunch. And it took us an hour to decide that we wanted to have sandwiches instead of Thai. And so I'm just going to say there are some drawbacks to participative leadership, because if we're all trying to agree on something, we sit there and don't get lunch until we decide. So absolutely, I think this is so important to think about, really how we're talking about it.
Barb, can I share?
Please.
I just want to share because I think it's gonna be funny. But before I share, I want to pose a question to the group, because I've worked with a lot of these ladies. So I'm curious as to what they think my leadership style is, and I want y'all to put it in the chat. But I'm gonna tell you what I think is gonna happen, but it may not. Y'all tell me what y'all think my leadership style is. Those of you who have worked with me, and be honest. But so I was gonna say,
put in the chat who you what leadership style you think Ebony is, because Ebony, just in case people can't see, they might not know that that's you.
But I was gonna say I am, I move between these leadership styles. In my opinion, I'll tell you what my test said in a little while after y'all put it in the chat. But I move between these leadership styles because it depends on the situation, as Barb just said. In a day, I move between these leadership styles because I'm an authoritative parent for sure. And then my number said participative. I can't say that word, participatory. But I know PWN actually taught me how to be participatory, because I used to, and I tell people this all the time, I have a takeover spirit. And I think that takeover spirit is authoritative because I don't like to, because what you just said, Barb, when we trying to be participative and everybody's like, oh, I just be like, look, this is what this is what everybody is saying, and this is what we gonna do. But I know I move between these styles, but my number was 26, so I did get participative style of leadership. Who said? Oh, I don't. There you go. Let's see, what did they say? Everybody said delegative or participatory. Okay, I'm not too bad. I think I'm learning how to get rid of the takeover spirit, and that's because of all y'all. Working with y'all has taught me to let go of the takeover spirit. So thank y'all. I thought they was gonna say authoritative, Barb, because you know some of them be snapping on me sometimes.
You know what? I always laugh because I tell people that I'm mostly participative, and people just laugh, and I'm like, okay, you know.
She has those
It's all
tendencies,
good. It's all about what we nurture and what we choose to really elevate. And I think that Kamaria really put something so valuable in the chat. Kamaria, thank you so much for putting that in. She said leadership qualities in any of these styles can be about being willing to make the tough decisions for the right reasons and not the easy decisions for the wrong reasons, which is what gives us our ebb and flow of how we show up. So absolutely. So the right decision is that if we're deciding on food, it is whatever the pickiest person wants to eat. No.
And Maria, I'm sorry, Barb. Maria, did you want to say something?
That was Mary. This is Mary using
Mary,
Maria.
sorry.
I was just saying how she has tendencies to delegate. You know, she'll say, it's up to you all. And then she'll look like she's pressing her lips together. And then she'll say, well, this is what I think you should do to move this along.
You got it, Mary.
I wanted to note to Ebony as well, the good thing about, you know, even using your takeover spirit is sometimes some people need that, and that's that leadership style that they respond to. Some people need a little direction. It helps them to make sure that they're making the right decisions, especially newer folk. So, you know, sometimes and oftentimes that spirit is needed. And that's exactly why we're saying, you know, go between them all and learn as many as you can so that you can use the right one at the right time. And it looks like Ebony got that down pat.
Absolutely. It's sort of a little bit like, you know, what style do I need to put on to be able to accomplish what we need to move forward? And thank you everybody for sharing your styles. You know, really appreciate being able to hear both the benefits and the cautions, because that sort of gives us an opportunity to share a little bit about, you know, how we show up in ways that we aren't always really proud of it, but still can be a real strength. So thank you everybody for that. In our last couple of minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Crystal. If you get motion sick when we switch the slides, go ahead and close your eyes because we're going to go back to where we were supposed to be at. There's my ducks, love those. And Crystal, we are to you now with our PWN and our leaderships.
Thank you. And I do see a hand, but before I open it up and take more questions, I just wanted to highlight something about exactly what Ebony brought up. And I'm so thankful for her example and Ieshia's affirming of what her leadership style is. Yes, it's okay to move between leadership styles. Sometimes it's needed, and your gut sometimes tells you what is needed in the moment. As a leaderful group, we also, it's important to recognize when to step back and allow the new person or the person who is in the role to lead, because I know as an organization, I know we're very mindful about building new leaders. We've been talking about this for a couple of months now, building new leaders. And so sometimes that requires us to be patient with other people who are practicing different leadership styles and trying to figure it out. And so whether it's a chapter or even in your community, some of us sit on planning councils and other groups. It's important to know our strengths as leaders, but also like help other leaders flex that muscle, because we all have to learn. We didn't just get born knowing how to lead. So sometimes people need that grace. And the last thing I want to say is, when we are not in moments of mindfulness and, understanding that people are trying to practice and strengthen their leadership muscles, sometimes that creates conflict. And conflict comes from miscommunication or thinking that it has to be done one way. So I just want to remind y'all that leadership it can be fluid, and it doesn't have to look one way. There's no one way to get things done. There might be better ways, but there's not one way. So again, give yourself grace and space to really kind of flex your leadership muscles and build up those leadership skills. I see a hand from Jessie Mona. Did you want to say something, Jessie Mona?
I did. I wanted to really say to Barb, we had a 2-day training, and I didn't hear anybody say this, but in the way of conflicts, Crystal, one thing that helps to avoid that is to use I statements. I learned that from Barb, as I statements will deflate the feeling of someone being attacked. So that's really, really important for me to use that in all my communications, not just in the space of PWN.
Thank you so much for that, Jessie Mona. And in our next training, we will talk about just that, like, how do you handle conflict and how do you work through it? Because sometimes conflict just comes from miscommunication or, just misunderstanding people's approach or communication or leadership styles. It can be a lot of things that brings about conflict, but we will talk about how do you work through that and not cause further harm, because it's important that we have those skills as well. So steps, please. Okay, and I'm happy to take this, Barb, too. So as next steps, we'll have conflict management and, understanding group dynamics. We'll have that conversation right before the year ends for that conversation. It as engaging as this was. Also talk about your leadership style and just sit back and observe other, not only your own leadership style, see how you can sometimes take the voluntold spirit that Ebony brings. Sometimes because people have to see their own power, and sometimes it's harder to see your own power, and other people can notice it for you. And lastly, thank y'all. Thank you for engaging and participating in sharing more about your leadership style. I'll turn it back over to Bob.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Crystal and Ieshia. Welcome. It was an outstanding webinar. We apologize for the technical difficulties with the breakout rooms, but as PWN does, we made a mid-course correction and still managed to have a deep and meaningful conversation. So I am incredibly grateful to the co-presenters and everyone for being willing to hang in there and continue to talk about what's important, which is how do we as members and leaders in PWN take what is our style, our natural style, and maybe see where it works and where it doesn't, and think about how we can nurture or partner with people who have different styles. So we have gone ahead and put in the chat box the link to our survey. I'll go ahead and put it in again. Please go ahead and fill it out. Let us know how we did. Feel free to mention that technology was not our friend. We practiced, but sure enough, guaranteed in training, when you practice, you're setting yourself up for a stumbling block, but we managed to make it through. So fill out the survey, let us know how we did, and then please go ahead and join us for our next webinar, which will be November 17th. That'll be about group dynamics and conflict management. And then finally, we have our resources that I know Ieshia has put in the chat box a number of times. These are the styles. These are ways that you can go ahead and look. My personal favorite is the Dungeons and Dragons character alignment charts. So you can see if you are actually a positive chaos person or not. It's a lot of fun to think about how do you build a character in Dungeons and Dragons, I gather, and it tells you sort of what kind of good or evil and chaos or stability you are on that axis. And that was one of the charts that Ieshia talked about in the different styles. So we will go ahead and share this with everyone so you can go ahead and find them. But other than that, I just want to thank you. We are right at time. And so once again, thank you for joining us for our organizing curriculum as we have worked to really develop and build skills for our members and our allies throughout this year. So with that, we'll go ahead and just sign off and thank everyone. If you want to just put in the chat goodbye or whatever you would like to do. I always feel like it's a little abrupt to just sort of end the meeting. So we'll do hearts and we'll do love. And with that, thank you everyone so very much for joining us tonight. And yes, Ms. Anya, we will go ahead and share all of these, the slides.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Take care and go have a beautiful evening because indeed we are all leaders.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Barb. Good night,
Barb.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.